If Saturday morning cartoons fueled your imagination as a kid and powers your action figure collecting now as an adult, then you're in the right place. Thanks for stopping by, and welcome to Saturday Morning Toy Collector.
And if you like my content, please consider subscribing.
Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Meet the Collector. You guys saw in the thumbnail who we're talking to today. If you guys don't know Nikki from her, all of her amazing custom head work that, you've probably purchased in the past, then you certainly know her work from Fresh Monkey Fiction when she's worked on the Naughty or Nice collection, the Fox Forge Toys, Galactic Valor toy line, but right now she is knee deep in Lemurians over at Harvinger Studios with Savage Crucible. It is the one, the only, the amazing Nikki Nikole Customs. So thank you so very much for being on the show tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Mark. I'm super excited.
I am too, because we have had a kind of a long distance relationship for a while. I remember reaching out to the community maybe 2 years ago. And I was like, does anybody have, I had this idea. I wanted to do a live, a blind build, Mythic Legions figure. Right. And I was like, does anybody out there have any extra parts? I don't want to know what you're sending. Just, if you don't mind, I'll pay for shipping, throw some parts in a box and send it my way. And you were one of the very first people to reach out. And I was very surprised. I was like, how did you even know about me? And you were like, I think you told me you stumbled across my channel from
GI reviews. It's literally my favorite show. I look forward to it all the time, and it's just fun and just the right length and everything. So I've just been really enjoying your content.
Well, thank you so very much. So I don't know if a lot of people know this, but if they paid attention, but of those parts, I ended up building and creating the lore for this little guy, which is Billbone's Broken Shield, and I built him live. So you actually are a part of just about every one of my reviews in the little behind the scenes way, because awesome. You sent me some of the parts for Billbones. And so I think I did everything on camera except for his little shield. This I notched out later on and ended up painting. But yeah, Bill Bones is our unofficial mascot. He's always asking for raises each year. I don't know if that's how that's going to work out for cost of living and all that. But anyway, so yeah, you're a small part of every episode that we do here. So I really appreciate you reaching out to me for that. So we're just going to get into it. You know the drill by now. We got 20 questions. I'm going to ask them. We'll take a break in the middle. We'll do 10. We'll take a break. You can plug all of your socials and where we can find you and where we'll see you next if you're doing any cons this year. So we'll give you a chance to do that. I want to do that in the middle instead of the very end. Don't want to make people wait to the very end so they can check out where they can find you. But we're just going to get right into it. What was your favorite figure growing up?
Growing up, I was a big G.I. Joe collector. After the initial early stages of My Little Pony and Strawberry Shortcake, I had an older brother, so he definitely influenced my collecting habits. But my favorite figure was Techno Viper in G.I. Joe. Probably his color had a lot to do with it. However, I always really appreciated the shape of his helm and just the equipment that he came with. It just was really cool.
Yeah, that was one in the classified series. I don't think I had him as a kid, but it was one in the classified series that I passed on initially. I was like, I don't need every single Trooper and Viper that that Cobra puts out. The Hasbro puts out for Cobra. I don't need that. But I came across one in the store, and I was like, I had a little extra money, so it was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. I picked it up, and he turned out to be amazing. So good. And then the one that comes with the because I think didn't one come with the fire team, or does one come with the missile system?
Yeah, I think it's the SMS. The colors match the fire team, but yeah,
that's right.
I didn't want to that figure.
You didn't want to because they changed.
I didn't want to because I just wanted the figure, and so I bought the whole set. So I need to sell the missile system because I just don't have space for it.
Right. That thing is gorgeous. It's a lot of fun. I thought it was going to be really cool to attach it to my his tank, but I think I have it just sitting up there. But I love attaching it to my Stinger.
Oh, okay.
That's a fun thing. Okay, so G.I. Joe as a kid. What was your so that was your favorite figure from
Mhm.
Cobra? Did you have a favorite character on the Joe team?
I really liked Fast Draw.
Oh,
Kind of a random one, but it was
deep cut.
because like my brother had obviously he's 4 years older than me, so he started collecting sooner. And by the time I came around and was interested. He had like the really cool ones like Snake Eyes version 2 with the wolf and all the kind of like more main characters, Dr. Mindbender, Cobra Commander, all of that. Um, and so whenever I would go to the store, when my grandma would take me to the store, if I could find something that he didn't have, it was like, ooh, look what I got,
Ooh,
and you don't have it.
nice.
And so Fast Draw was something that I got right at that time where like I really feel nostalgia for that time period. I think it was around like 8 or 9.
Okay.
And I just really like that figure. So I'm really hoping he gets made in classified.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. That would be amazing. I too um have a like a really strong fondness for that era of Joes. I like
Mhm.
to think of that as like the third major wave of Joes. So like you had like
Yeah.
your first original 12 or whatever, like the green shirts. And then
Hmm.
then you had like that. I kind of count that as like the first initial wave. And then like the
Yes.
second big push was all of the figures that came after that. But
Hmm.
then like where I really hit my stride with G.I. Joe was that third wave that you're talking
Yeah.
about. So like your quick kicks, your Storm Shadow V2, like when he was the good guy,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Outback, Tunnel Rat,
Yeah.
like Mainframe, Lifeline, like those. Alpine's my favorite, Joe of all time. But yeah, like that's my favorite. So like that third big push that brought in all
Yeah.
these new characters.
I
Battle
would
Armor
agree with
Cobra
that.
Commander. Man, I really, yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
want all of those made. Battle Armor Cobra Commander as a
Exactly.
deluxe. I want that so bad.
He's
And it better
he's
not be
like
a
number
Hasbro
one on my
Legends
want
exclusive.
list.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like he would be fantastic. A lot of us collected as a kid, and then when we discover the opposite sex, or we discover video games or bike riding with our friends, like when we figure all that stuff out, we kind of like have this little hiatus where it's not cool to play with toys. And then somewhere along the line, we find our way back into it. I always call this like the dark times, the little dark period. Did you have one of those where you stopped collecting and then got back into it? And
Definitely.
what was the figure or the line that, as like an adult, like brought you back into collecting?
Yeah, I was not collecting for a very long time. In fact, not doing any artwork of any kind for a very long time while I was going through college and getting my first like career jobs and things like that. Um, so I started adult collecting in I think it was 2013. So right around that time, I was watching the 2012 TMNT show, which I
Okay.
really liked, and I was like, wow, I have a lot of nostalgia that I didn't realize I had for TMNT. And I was bringing out some of my old artwork that I drew like in 5th grade of the Ninja Turtles and all of that. And then I watched a show, I forget his name. It's some sort of collecting show that was on TV. I forget the guy's name though, where he would go out and hunt for things that his clients would be
Mm.
searching for. And I was like, whoa, this whole toy collecting thing, I didn't know about that. And like just kind of started acquiring some figures, some older TMNT figures, some of the newer Playmate stuff. And then that kicked off all of the more adult geared figures that were just starting to come out around that time for TMNT specifically. Um, and so that's what really kicked off. And then shortly thereafter, I came across the Gothotropolis Ravens that the Four Horsemen had done. I was like, whoa! And I remember I got the first one of those in hand, and I was just like blown away by the paint apps and how detailed it was. It's like, whoa, this is like next level stuff right here. I really want to collect that. And then right around that time, they were doing the Kickstarter for Mythic Legions, and then it was all over.
Oh wow, yeah. So it was kind of like Turtles that brought you back around too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about the Turtles is that um, it seems like the turtle fandom like sort of like gets broken down into like two groups, like the people that are
Hmm.
like the 90s cartoon is the only cartoon that exists. Everything else is garbage. And then there's the other group that's like, man, I love everything Turtles. Like, I don't care. Like, one of the things that I love about Ninja Turtles is that, like, every, like, 3 or 4 years, like, they completely reinvent themselves for a whole entire new group of people.
Hmm.
New art style, new animation, new toys. And, it's just like, it's really cool that it's like everybody's going to have like what's their version of Ninja Turtles, like that's like for me, like I'm more nostalgic for the toys. I loved the toys as a kid. The
Yes.
cartoon was okay, like I watched
Mhm.
it, like, but it's hard to go back and rewatch the original 90s cartoon. It just kind of doesn't
Yeah.
really hold up for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Turtles is something special. Like every 3 or 4 or 5 years they just come back around, reinvent themselves, and have new people jump on. And I think that that's the key to like longevity, in an IP, is
Definitely.
that being able to bring in like new people over time. So
Absolutely.
that's really
And,
cool. Is
and
Ninja
even,
Turtles? That's awesome.
yeah, and even the companies that are, nostalgia, going after nostalgia properties and things like that, Turtles, like NECA, for example, they're able to continue to hit different nostalgia points as the line
Yeah.
goes on, because the different age groups are aging into the area where they're going to start collecting because they have disposable income and all of that. So
Right.
it
Yeah.
it it
Absolutely.
benefits them, yeah. But
Yeah. It is.
I didn't watch the original cartoon. It was more of the nostalgia for the toys for me, because man, I just remember going into some of these stores and it would just be an entire wall of Ninja Turtle stuff, like so many characters, and I was like, oh my god, so many
Yeah.
things.
We were talking about that recently. I think I've had like 2 conversations about that recently, about how like you would go into like Toys R Us or KB Toys
Mhm.
or whatever it was, and there would just be aisles and aisles and aisles of
Yes.
toys. And
Yeah.
so it was just, and that's the golden age of toy collecting. Like, I don't think we'll ever get back there again.
I don't
Like
either,
my kids will
sadly.
never know what that's like. They're
Yeah.
never not going to know what it's like to go in and be completely overwhelmed by choice. You know,
Yep.
like even now I'll go in, I'm like, oh, there's like one Star Wars figure on the shelf that I may or may
Yep.
not have seen before. It's just like just one.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's terrible. So do you have like, so today, like, do you have like any guidelines for your collecting? Like for me personally, like my main guiding factor for my collection is that I like to collect like modern remakes of like 80s properties, toys that
Hmm.
I had as a kid that were like based on like Saturday morning or afternoon cartoons. And that kind of keeps me in my lane. Do you have any like weird guidelines like that for collecting?
It's evolved over the last decade. When I started, I had way more disposable income than I do now. Just buying a house and more responsibilities
Oh,
and
of
all of that,
course.
right?
Adulting.
Adulting, yes. And so I have moved into a place of shine. It's not a hard and fast rule, but mostly avoiding Kickstarters, because what I found is that typically they take 2 to 3 years, and even though I would like to support new creators and everything, my interest change in 2 to 3 years, and by the time some things deliver, I'm just like, man, why did I order this?
Yes.
Happy to support new creators though, so there's a little bit of a conflict there. And then I've also come to a place of it has to be a strong, I freaking need this figure feeling for me to actually pull the trigger on it. Because if it's like, yeah, well, I have the other guys in this person's squad, so I probably should pick up this figure, and it's just like lukewarm, then I don't buy them anymore. And then I'm also moving to a place where I'm avoiding pre-orders for the same reason of shying away from Kickstarters. If it's a pre-order that's going to be over a year, I'm going to wait until it's here. I'm going to assess if I really really want it, and then I will buy it, even if it's a higher price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta set rules for myself, or I'll just buy everything. Like my favorite
Yeah.
IP is Star Wars, and Mark from
Mm.
2 years ago would have bought every Black Series figure that
Yep.
releases. But like now with like Skeleton Crew and Acolyte, even though I love the shows and they're fantastic, like I just don't feel the need to get every figure. I'm like, that's $24 or $25 for a little kid figure that doesn't come with
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
maybe a backpack accessory or a flashlight or whatever, from like Skeleton Crew. So like really it has to, I don't want to, cause I feel like that too. I feel like I'm just checking boxes. It's just like, oh, I'll get it. I'll open it and I'll put it in a
Yeah.
little baggie and I'll throw it in a bin. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not collecting. That's hoarding. Like that's, that
Yes.
needs an
Fine line.
intervention,
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I feel like if I'm not going to review it, if I'm not going to display it or play around with it or do like a pose video or whatever, then I just don't need it. So I try
Right.
to, there's just too much coming out. So I have to.
Exactly.
So my follow up to that is I have to do this. But do you set yourself like a budget? Do you give yourself like a toy allowance and you're like, hey, this is all I'm spending this month on figures or this 2 week period or
Yeah, I do now. And I was delighted actually when I looked at my finances, I was delighted last year because last year I cut way back, way, way, way back. And I spent far less last year than I did all of the previous years. Um, that being said, I mean, I will set a budget, but I will also, if I really, really want something, I will break that. But luckily, I've been able to adhere to that for the last year at least, so that's good.
yeah. I think, like Mythics, there's only a few toy lines, Mythics, maybe Savage Crucible, there's um AWOC. There's a few toy lines that I'm into that I have no nostalgic ties to.
Yeah.
They may tug a nostalgic string because this may like Fisher Rice comes out in the Cosmics line,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yes.
I had those adventure people, alien people, like when I was a kid. So like it tugs on that, but I didn't have that. And every once in a while, my wife will be like, "You didn't have that as a kid." I know that was not around in the '80s, and I'm like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah, but I really like
Yeah. No, I have to have a budget. I have like direct deposit goes straight. I have like a set amount that leaves my bank and it goes straight when I get paid and it goes into my Venmo account. And my Venmo is like my allowance. And
Yeah.
the good thing about Venmo is unlike PayPal, when your account's empty, it won't let the purchase go through. So like PayPal,
Oh,
when
that's great.
when your PayPal is empty, like it'll just pull from your bank account like your backup.
Yeah.
Venmo doesn't do that. I've been at Target and swiped that Venmo card and it's like, and I'm like,
Oh,
doggone it.
darn it.
Like, man, I got to go stash this until next week.
Yeah.
I have to. Yeah, I'm terrible with money. And I love being married. I love living in this house.
Yes.
And I don't want to. I don't want to be divorced. So while we're talking about toy buying, do you do toy hunts? Do you go out and do that? And if so, I know it's increasingly harder and harder these days, but what is the percentage of your toy buying online versus like in store?
Yeah, that also has evolved. When I first started collecting, I would really, when I was living in the Bay Area, I would really enjoy cruising across the Golden Gate Bridge on my day off, going up north to Toys R Us when it was still around, and looking for NECA Predators. That was, or TMNT stuff. That was my thing at that time, and I really enjoyed that. After Toys R Us closed, and Target and Walmart are the places, I absolutely do not like toy hunting. If I happen to be at Target, I will definitely cruise by the toy aisle and just see what I see. I did manage to go out when that NECA recent Mirage TMNT set hit.
Oh yeah.
And my friends were telling me that it hadn't really been announced and they're showing up. I did go to the Target and I actually found it. And so that was like a major score. But overall, I do not like toy hunting. I would prefer 100% to buy everything online. I just want to be able to order it. Like I said, if I happen to be there and I find something cool, great. But I don't.
I would prefer to find everything in stores, but it's just so difficult. Like I still get like super excited, like when I go into a store and I see something that I have not wasn't there like last time, and I have this on pre-order. I get to take it off pre-order and save $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
I get excited, but like my Walmarts around here they haven't carried G.I. Joe in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like I've got 5 Walmarts in my area and none of them carry G.I. Joe. They're just not. They just don't carry it at all. Or they'll have like the retro card like Lady J and Gung Ho from like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine, Michael, who runs Toy Habits. I don't know if
Mhm.
you're familiar with them, but a big Motu collector, and he lives in the Bay Area. And he was telling me that the Walmarts are like few and far between. Like they're
Mhm.
not like all over the place. Like
Right.
here in Tallahassee, we're a small town. Like I can hit all five of our Walmarts within an hour. Like I can just
Oh,
make a
wow.
loop and hit them all. But he's like, yeah, it's a haul to get to one. So
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
like, toy
exactly.
hunting is kind of it's hard. It's like a
Yeah.
all day kind of thing.
Yeah. You got to spend a lot of money on gas money.
Yeah, yeah. So I see behind you, you've got a good, like a beautiful display with lots of open airspace. Oh, who we got
Oh,
here?
yeah,
Who's
this
this?
is little Obi. He decided to join.
Obi-Wan.
Yep.
I love it. I love it when our like little fur babies decide to join. So I see a beautiful display in the back. Where
Yes.
are you right now in your house, and where do you keep your collection?
Yeah, so this is the one of the upstairs bedrooms, and we turn this into like our entertainment room. So we have our gaming setup over there, play Warcraft.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
Gaming setup slash TV. There's a couch. My painting desk is right here as well. And the closet, it's actually quite a large closet. It's my hobby closet. So I have bins of figures and also racks of 3D printed heads and parts on the walls. And then there's a little bit of paint here, but there's all of my paint collection is in that hobby closet. So it's a lovely space, and I have these two bookshelves. There's two more bookshelves in here, and then right in the hallway, there's another narrow IKEA bookshelf with my collection.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So does your roommate, significant other, partner, whatever, are they just like, okay, you got to keep it in this area, or is it okay if it kind of like trickles out into like the other
Yeah,
spaces?
partner is totally on board with my collecting, and
Nice. Yes.
yeah, very very supportive. Although I am respectful about it and keep it localized to this area.
Okay. Yeah, my wife's like, yeah, it's not happening. You keep it
Yeah,
in this. This
yeah.
is this is my everything room. Like my work. So I work from home as well.
Oh, great.
So I have a 9 to 5. So I work over there. My
Mm,
gaming station's like right here, like right next to it, which is
nice.
great and terrible at the same time. Very distracting. And then right here's where I do all my reviews and stuff. So I have like 3 little workstations, but
That's
yeah,
awesome.
everything has to stay like right here. Like it
Yeah.
ain't trickling out.
And I
It's
mean, it's good because it keeps you from going into that hoarding scenario, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Otherwise, yeah, there'd be, big bad toy store boxes to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Um, so what percentage of your toy collecting is in package or open? Do you leave
Mm.
anything in package or no?
Um, in package, I only do that if I collect something to retain value and sell later.
Oh,
I
okay.
never keep something in package that just for myself. It's only what I call putting it in the vault to accrue value to sell later. So I do have, let's see, I think I got rid of all my older Mythic Legion stuff that I was keeping in the vault.
Mm,
I have Savage Crucible Wave 1 to accrue some value.
absolutely.
There's already figures that are sold out, so we'll give it a few years and, um, and let it cook for a while. I have, I think, a a Frazetta Girls figure, the Icon Collectibles Dark Wolf. Um, I think that's it now. I used to have a lot more when I was like really kind of getting into the investing part, but with the economy and things changing after the COVID times,
Yeah,
that has kind of changed. The market for that has changed as well. So
yeah.
yeah.
I don't keep
So
much in package unless
yeah.
it's like a really cool like reaction figure because one of the
Hmm.
things that I love that Super 7 does is like their card art's incredible. I
Yes.
mean, and it should be. I mean, Brian and his wife both are designers, and like they're just that card art is so good. So like every once in a while, like I'm not really gonna. I mean, what am I gonna do with a reaction? It's like 5 POA. I'm not gonna
Right.
do much with it, right? Like
Yeah.
if I opened it, I'm just gonna fiddle around with it on my desk and then one day throw it in a bin. So like, but I feel like if I leave it on the card, like it's beautiful, like it's a little art piece, and
It
so I'll
is.
do
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
but mostly, yeah, I open everything. You mentioned for Zeta Girls, man, that line came out of nowhere for me. Like I was
Mhm.
not expecting that. that
Right.
line from them, and just like every figure they put out's a banger, man. Like
Yeah, I've only picked up the Dark Wolf and he's still in the package, so we'll see. I'm kind of
get
waiting
Tigre.
for
Tigre is incredible.
mm, I'm waiting for Savage Crucible Wave 2 because those are the humans and barbarians and that Frazetta figure. And then I'll probably open Dark Wolf to like
Yeah,
display them
there you
together.
go. Yeah, and they just did the pre-order for Vampirilla, and
Oh,
she
okay.
is so good. Like, just I can't wait to get
Mhm.
my hands on her. Yeah, that they came out of nowhere. Probably know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask everybody just in case it's a little different. What's your preferred scale of action figure?
Oh, definitely 6 inch, 7 inch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What
I
was the last? Sorry, did you want to expand on that?
I was just gonna say I tried getting into smaller scale with the initial AWOC Kickstarter and also some boss fight figures, and they just felt way too kids toy to me. Um,
Mhm.
and I just like that these are large. You can see them from across the room. They seem to really catch interest of people that come over as more of like an art piece. So that's
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, I really love the world building that Hasbro is doing right now
Hmm.
with their 3 3/4 inch, like the little play sets that they keep putting out and
Oh,
all the little stuff that they have coming out. Like, if I'd have known that they were, vintage collection was going to get into that, I think I probably would have stayed, you know.
same. Yeah.
But, um, but yeah, when Black Series came out, I was just like, oh, good, like a brand new scale. Like we've never had Star Wars,
Yeah.
and it's lining up with everything else. And now I feel like I'm kind of stuck. I mean, I have the
Yes.
Razor Crest, but
Wow.
then that ship was destroyed. And so now we
Yeah.
got this
It's
ship
such a
that's not
cool
even,
ship.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like I hope that he gets a new one in the movie. Like that would be amazing to me. But
Yes.
yeah, I'm like, I'm
Um,
not gonna just track down all these different
right.
scales of everything for Star
I
Wars.
I agree with you on Star Wars. I probably shouldn't have gone with the Black Series and just gone into the vintage collection because I do like the world building aspect of it as well. And like some of the things I would really want just aren't going to be made. So
Yeah, I mean when they started getting into like making like I hate having to say this, but I know it's the proper way to say it, the Tonta V hallway. I always called
Mhm.
it the Tontif, but like it's Pablo Hidalgo, the guy who keeps the Star Wars Bible at Lucasfilm. He's like, no, it's pronounced Tontavi, and I think that's ridiculous. But now that I know that, I can't not say it because now I
Yeah.
feel like an idiot if I don't. But like when they started doing like the hallways and then like the Bespin like carbon freezing chamber and like down there
Mhm.
making like the armorers like Forge from Mandalorian and like the Jabba the Hutt place at like the cantina and like all that stuff is just. I mean, I don't know where I'd put it. I don't have the room for it, but like that world building is amazing. That's the kind of stuff that
Yeah.
I wish that Hasbro would do a little bit more of with Black Series. They're
Yeah.
starting to do that with GI Joe. Like we're just now like starting to get that little Cobra like
Yes.
tower.
Yep.
I want more of that. Give me more of those little bunkers and like, oh, I want more of that stuff so bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was the last action figure that you bought?
Well, as a matter of fact, it just arrived today. So this is there's two. Fresh Monkey Fiction Green Father Christmas. So
Oh, he's
try
dope.
not to.
I wanted to buy one of these around Christmas time, but the ones that I wanted were not in stock, and they were like going
Okay.
in January. And I'm like, I'm not going to buy a Santa figure in January and then like hang
Yeah.
on to it for 11 months.
It's still winter for me. I still have my Santa display up, and I love just setting up the holiday stuff just for the holidays. So that brings me a lot of joy. It's part of my holiday decorating. So for me, it doesn't bother me getting. I think Fresh Monkey Fiction has had some challenges getting the figures in right in time for the holidays. They've unfortunately had like just been delayed by like a month, and it's like it was almost such
Right,
great
because
timing.
Chinese New Year like kicks off in like January, right?
Yeah, end
And
of
so
January.
they start kind of like shutting down like the beginning of December, right? Like all the because I
Yeah,
think somebody was telling me recently, like the factories they kind of shut down right before Chinese New Year so they could do repairs and start cleaning up and
yeah,
and
weeks.
do all that kind of get in new equipment and and
Mhm.
and so that when they get back from Chinese New Year they're able to hit the ground running. And so yeah, like if it doesn't get out by November, I guess you're not getting it by Christmas.
Right. And, a lot of the folks that work in the factories, they will leave to visit their families, sometimes really far off regions. weeks and weeks before the actual holiday. So it's definitely a long period of time of pause. So I'm super excited about this guy. I've always been kind of attracted to the green, more like traditional Father Christmassy look for
Yeah.
Santa. So I'm really excited to get him on the shelf. And then second figure is the Night Ops Senshi. I got the original Senshi, and I don't think I'll keep them both. And I think I'm gonna like this one better. So I'm excited to like get him all geared up and see how he looks on the shelf.
Nice. So
Yeah,
being like a Joe fan, and now I see you collect Valorverse, are you into Monster Force?
I am not. That I like the look of some of the figures. It's just not. It's just not my thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
got you.
They
So
look great.
you're more of a Christmas person than a Halloween person?
I'm actually more of a Halloween person. I just
Whoa.
really I love that's like my favorite holiday, but
Mine too.
I really like the what Fresh Monkey Fiction is doing with the holiday stuff. They're just the aesthetic is really appealing
Yeah. Dang it, you're gonna enable me. Now I'm gonna have to get off and like go and pull the trigger on that Santa figure that I didn't buy
They're
from the holiday.
super cool figures.
Yeah, I don't have any of the Santa stuff, the Naughty or Nice stuff, but I do have a couple of Monster Forces. As a matter of fact, I got in one today. I got a loose. I have the Delta Red like Night Ops Trooper.
Okay.
I mean, he's pretty cool in the fact, hey, Obi's back. You should have two of them, and one be like Obi-Wan, and then like Obi-2. That would be great. But yeah, so there's like this Night Ops Trooper that's like or a Night Ops version of the Delta Red, and so like once you put their helmets on, like you can't even tell they're monsters. Like, just
Yeah.
the Joes.
I'm keeping my eye on it to see if I like any ones that are like geared up with like really cool looking helmets that I
Yeah.
probably
Well,
integrate
they've
with.
got more coming that I don't think have anything to do with like the monster side. Like they have this other wave coming. I'm sure you know, but the Soldiers of Fortune. So they're
Hmm.
6-inch soldiers and stuff, but they're more realistic. It's more just men in military suits.
Okay.
It's less monstery stuff. So,
I will check that.
so what is? I probably know the answer to this question too. What is your current favorite toy line?
Well, obviously I'm biased.
Of course.
But I'm really excited about Savage Crucible.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I've been collecting Zestray and Mythic Legions for a while now, and Savage Crucible is just something a little bit different. And it's like a whole new parts library, and so it's I'm kind of like a moth to flame right now. I'm like new stuff to play with.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I admittedly am biased. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I thought I was going to know the answer to this. What is your current favorite figure? Because I know, like with me, it's going to change daily.
Yeah.
You know, what I love today, I'm going to be on to something else tomorrow probably, or discover something new that is old tomorrow. But I don't know. What about you? What's your current favorite? Do you have like a desk figure that's just like, hey, today this is my favorite?
So I'm gonna cheat here because I am cheating because I have this in hand before anyone else. So this is my current favorite figure.
Look at that! Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!
So
Now,
again,
Did you paint this?
I did. I painted the body for this guy. Alex Wu painted the armor. And again, I'm biased because I worked on this figure. So you know,
Oh my gosh!
I'm not, but yeah, I just got this is like the factory sample
He's gorgeous.
just before final production. And he has, so first of all, I really like just the detail on the weapons and like the scabbard, like it's some really cool detail there. He comes with a soft goods cape, and then he also comes with two heads. So
I love that head. The little
and the jaws are articulated. So the frilled lizard head that has the frill out, and then the frilled lizard head that has the frill down. And then what I did, I used to work, I'm in the biological sciences and working in animal husbandry and things like that. And I used to work with a really large albino reticulated python. And so that's what I modeled the pattern and the color after, was a lavender albino reticulated python.
And so lavender from the fact that
So
like inside their mouth was like a light purplish color.
yeah, actually that's an
Oh,
embellishment. The mouth on this figure is an embellishment, but there's albino, which has no melanin or tyrosin. I think it's tyrosinane. I can't think of the name right now. It's another pigment. The lavender albino has that pigment, and so it's not just yellow and white. It has this other element of what the
oh,
pattern that
okay.
would normally be black on a normal snake. Yeah.
Good. That's crazy that you get to
So
put like your like your other life
yeah,
and then your new life together and like have them come together and like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
I'm very lucky to be able to do that. That's like living the dream
That
right
guy
there.
is
But
incredible. And yeah, I think I've emailed Rob several times and been like, hey, when is this guy coming out? Do
here's
look
his,
at that. Look at
his
those
sword,
weapons.
and that goes in the scabbard. So let's see, this guy has newly tooled armor that wasn't on any
Right.
other of the other Lemurians. Yes, the line is very Lemurian heavy right now, because wave one, we had a secret drop release, which was also a Lemurian. We're waiting on wave two. Obviously, Lunar New Year got in the way of the timing of that, the ideal timing of that. So there will be humans and other humanoids soon, but this will be coming out. All I can say right now is it will be coming out in 2025. And that doesn't mean pre-order. That does not mean pre-order in 2025. That means coming out in
Nice.
2025. That's all I can say right now. He does have the new feet.
Nice.
And this will be the last Lemurian for a long time.
Right.
Because we have plenty of Lemurians
Right.
now.
You guys
So
got
it'll
piranhas,
be
you've got
years.
human
Yeah.
warriors. Rob was very gracious and sent over, I think, all of wave 2 for me to check out. I did a preview of each one of the. He sent me the prototypes.
Yes.
So
That's
lots of
great.
humans. I
Yes.
know the dwarf got pushed to the third wave or something. He's a little bit later.
Yeah. I just
Oh
took this
yeah.
off.
And then
Then
there's the piranha people. Oh my gosh, yeah. You guys have got a
Yep.
lot going on.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot more variety coming this year. And you've actually had a chance to have the humans in hand, which is great because I haven't.
They're
even
fantastic. And knowing that there's like knowing that there's like a Frazetta, knowing that that's happening, and then
Oh yeah.
and now we've got
Yeah.
the Elric, and oh my gosh, I'm so happy like with everything
Yeah.
that you guys are doing. Yeah, like it's a lot of fun, and I think toy collectors are savvy enough now that they understand how parts reuse works. I mean, if you look at AWOC, like I think every single
Mhm.
body in the first 2-3 waves were all just fur bodies, and they were either ape fur or cat fur or like wolf fur, but it was all the same buck. And I think people are smart enough to know that, yeah, that's going to have to happen for the first couple, to get out more
Yes.
figures and to save on cost. And then by, wave 4, 5, and 6 now, like even with AWOC now, they've got bulldogs coming out and lizards and rabbit people and
Right.
like chameleons, and like they're really expanding,
Yeah.
So yeah, people know that. I mean, yeah, I like to think that people know that by now. Anytime I see anybody online and they're arguing about, oh, they just reuse all the parts, I'm like, dude, where have you been for the last like 30, 40? Like did you not collect
Yeah.
He-Man? Like every single figure was identical. They just painted it different. Like, come on, different hands,
Yeah.
different heads. That albino. What's the official
Exactly.
name for that character? Is it just albino Lemurian or?
Nope. That is it's called Shield of Dezera. And the bio, I think the bio was too long to post on Instagram. And so we did post it in the Savage Crucible Facebook group. So that is there. Gordon, who does Gordon Lake, who does the packaging design. He wrote that bio. He's been writing a lot of the bios and putting these things together. He
Well, I
does a
can't
great
wait
job.
for it. That figure looks beautiful. And now knowing that you painted it, gotta have 2. We'll keep one in the
Thanks.
package, and when I meet you can sign it for me.
But yeah, I painted it, and it wasn't like a solicited thing. I just painted one, and I was like, "Hey, Rob, I painted this thing," and so he was very excited about it. And so when he asked me to send it to the factory, I had a really hard time boxing it up because I just wanted it as a custom on my shelf. And I'm like, okay, please tell me this is going to be made because I'm having a really hard
Yeah.
time shipping this to you. But what's really cool about this is that I think I shipped this to him. He went to China to visit the factory and oversee the production of Wave 2. They had it already in production by the time he left from that trip.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's a very fast turnaround. And, you know, a lot of people will ask, well, is that holding up the production of Wave 2? And the answer is no. Sometimes there's pauses in the factory's production, and sometimes they can squeeze things in that are already tooled parts that they don't have to do any type of new engineering on. They can just get it in and get it out really, really quickly. So we were fortunate enough to get that out.
Yeah. So the big question is, did you get your prototype back? Did you get your custom back?
No, I unfortunately I never get the paint masters back. And sometimes that means I send things off that aren't going to be made, and that's a little bit tough sometimes. So
I
yeah.
bet. Well, we are through our first round of questions. You've done wonderfully. This has been a great conversation so far. I knew it was going to be. This is so much fun. But we're going to take a little pause here, a little intermission, and you can just tell everybody what you've got going on, where your socials are, give out all the deets. I'll put them all in the in a little space down below when you start
Awesome.
messaging. I'll have them all pop up in post. But yeah, where can we find you? And are you going to be anywhere where we'll be able to see you this year? Hey.
Yeah, so I am most active on Instagram, which is Nikki Nikole _ customs. Nikki Nikole Customs. That's where I hang out the most. I also have a Facebook page, Nikki Nikole Customs. I post less frequently there. Facebook, I just don't love that platform too much. You can also find me in the Savage Crucible Facebook group. I help moderate there and just be part of the team discussions. The team's really big on interacting with the fans and customers. And let's see, as far as in-person things this year, I'm considering maybe looking at Toylanta or Zolicon. They're both in March. Looking at that possibility. I've said over the last 2 years have been really tricky with some parental health stuff and just kind of needing to be on call for that. So that's what's really holding me up from some of these in-person type things. So I'll try this year, hoping, I keep saying hoping for more next year, but it just kind of depends.
We
on
understand.
that.
We understand.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thanks.
All right. So diving right back in. Do you collect anything besides action figures? Do you have any like kind of weird or fun little things you dabble in?
Yeah, I would say when I said I had paused collecting for a while, I got into this was probably around 2001 to 2008. I was collecting live reptiles and amphibians, and tarantulas, and it started off as a hobby and then it became a business. And so I had a whole side business where I would breed and sell rare reptiles, rare invertebrates, things like that, and that was definitely a form of collecting. It
Yeah,
had
for sure.
the same drive, the same interest. You're like, you see something, you're like, I need to have that. And so I
Making
ran
more
that business.
reptiles.
Yeah, I ran that business until I think like 2008, 2009-ish, and then I got out of it and kind of was like partnering with my career of reptile and amphibian husbandry and conservation and things like that. So it was too much because I'd go to work and then I'd come home to the same thing. And I'm like, okay, we got to get out of 5 animals at home. And so I ended up getting rid of everything
Yeah, I
after
would not come to your house. I am not allowed.
a
No
Yeah,
way.
I had
Mostly
one
action
time.
figures, but no way.
Yeah, one time I had like 50 tarantulas.
No way.
Yeah,
No.
yep.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No,
But
ma'am.
it was mostly geckos. It was mostly rare geckos, and then I did have some snakes and things like that too.
Mm-mm. Anytime we go to a zoo, I do not go into the reptile
Oh
world. I'm not
man.
doing it. I am not doing it. I am not doing it. Okay, so let's see here. Outside of maybe Savage Crucible, what do you I know you don't like doing pre-orders, but is there a pre-order that you have that you're looking forward to most this year?
Well, I would say the Savage Crucible Fishmen, the Piranoids, just because there's nothing like that out there right now. But
Right.
aside from Savage Crucible, let me see. Pre-orders, yes. So I just got my BBTS pile of loot sent to me, which is the Fresh Monkey Fiction reindeer. Again, missing the holiday. However, I'm very excited for them. Um, but I would say the naughty or nice pumpkin guys. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
do hope
great.
they get here before Halloween. That is my hope this year.
Yeah,
I don't think I
those
have
look great.
anything else. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have anything else. Maybe Dial Tone is the only outstanding pre-order I have for classified. Um, kind of waiting to see what Valor shows for their next series. I know we're kind of in the middle of waves right now. I don't think I have anything Mythic Legions on pre-order, but there is some stuff coming in from the Necronominous wave that I'm going to pick up. So
Yeah.
I'll probably get the White Horse Bishop. I think it's Bishop. Very excited for that horse.
Yeah, that wave looks just incredible.
Yeah.
I think from what I've heard, there's a strong possibility that those figures are going to make it. They'll be at Toylanta. I'm not sure about ZoloCon. I think people are hoping that they're going to be at ZoloCon.
Okay.
I just know ZoloCon's like at the beginning of March, but like Toylanta's like at the end of March.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
I think I've heard that they're going to be at least at Toylanta, but hopefully ZoloCon. That would be
Okay.
amazing. I'm really looking forward to the skeleton army builder, the one that's kind of like the blue zombie with the leather.
Oh yeah,
that's in that wave.
Yes.
The undead. I think they're calling it the undead builder.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to that figure.
I might pick that one up too.
Skeletons and zombies in armor.
Yeah,
that's my peanut butter and jelly. So this is where we start getting into some fun questions, because these are the ones that I love. It's a lot of speculation kind of stuff. Like, what is a figure or a line that has not been announced that you would love to see made?
If you had asked me that a year ago, I very easily would have answered 2012 TMNT, because yes, Playmates did it, but it wasn't like, it was not accurate to the aesthetic of the cartoon, and not geared for adults. So I would have said that. But now that NECA is doing it, I would say, did you say toy or line?
Yeah, it could be a singular figure, or it could be an entire line.
I would love to see she's the Sith Twi'lek from Star Wars, the red with the black markings from the comics.
I know exactly who you're talking about, but I do not know her name. I know she's either from the comics or a novel, and I unfortunately don't read a lot of Star Wars media.
Yep, I don't either. But I have an old 3D, when 3D printing like first started, and you would get it through like Shapeways. I have an old custom figure that I bought from somebody for way too much money of her. And now I loved it at this time. I was like, this is like the prize of my collection. Right. And now when I look at it, you can see like the print lines so pronounced. And that thing, I'm like, oh God, I don't. Ugh. If you look at it from really far away, it's okay.
Yeah. Don't look at it too close. Don't look at it too close.
But I'd love a figure of that.
Oh yeah, okay. That's cool. That's awesome. Now here's a fun one. If you could take away a toy license from one company and give it to another company, what license would it be, and what company would it be?
That would be, and don't hate me for this, people, but
I would listen and we don't judge.
I would take the IDW TMNT license from Loyal Subjects, and I would give it to NECA.
Ooh, that is extreme. Somebody's been thinking about this.
Yes.
Okay.
I had been hoping before anybody did it that NECA would come out with IDW Turtle line, and it's cool that they're doing 2012, but I would love for them to do the IDW.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, I don't know how any of that licensing works, but yeah, it's clear that they divvy up well, first of all, it's clear that Playmates will give anybody the Ninja Turtle license that wants it, apparently. But it's weird how like with them, since there are so many different specific eras of Ninja Turtles, that they will license out the individual eras. Like
Right.
I I don't know what's going on right now with Super 7 and TMNT, but like apparently
Yeah.
they're making like a very specific subgroup now of Playmates Toys Ninja Turtles, not just the
Yeah.
originals. I don't know. Like there's something weird
I
going
think they
on.
got, yeah, something changed with that, and I'm really glad. While I don't think they were worth, 55 or $60, I am glad I was able to just get the four turtles and like a couple other ancillary
Yeah.
characters. I didn't really need much else. But I do, like you were saying earlier, I have nostalgia for the original toys, and that was like the perfect nod to like hit that nostalgia. So I'm glad I got what I wanted from that line. And now it sounds like they're not allowed to continue doing the toy recreations, unfortunately. I would have loved
Yeah.
to get a Napoleon Bonafrog toy recreation. He was
Nice.
a favorite at the time. So
Yeah. I have
yeah,
a Ninja Turtle shelf, but what I do is I just collect the four brothers and that's it.
yeah,
So like four from Super 7 and four from NECA. Like
yes,
I did their movie turtles are great. Like their samurai turtles, even though I've never watched Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time, I think that's what that one's called. I have
yeah,
those.
they look great. I
But
mainly focus on the four turtles too. I like
yeah,
just to show the different art styles over the years. That's
yeah.
the focus of my TMNT collection, and I'll get a few ancillary characters, but I don't by any means go crazy with all of the things because that,
Are
I
you
mean, that
getting
would fill
the
everything.
Yeah, because it's just way too much. Are you getting the Rage Toys Ninja Turtles, the ones that they're unofficial, and they're the ones that are named like spring, summer, autumn, fall? Like they're not named Ninja because they can't use the name.
Yeah,
So
I was definitely tempted. I have not pulled the trigger on that, and I think Leonardo is impossible to get now anyways. So I think I
So
dodged a
here's the
bullet.
good thing. Here's the good thing. Leo, because he was the first one. He was called Spring.
Yeah.
He's back up for pre-order.
Oh.
I want to say at either 5K or Toys Metaverse. So check there,
Mm.
because I just pre-ordered him a few days ago because I missed on him too. A friend of mine locally bought Donatello and was like, "Hey, I got a couple of these. Do you want it?" I bought one from him, and the Donatello figure was incredible. Like they had
Mm.
already made some improvements over like the first Leo. And
Okay.
then Mikey just came out spring. What's he called? Summer, I think. I just got Mikey, and then they've even further. So like I think Leo only had like a couple of double joints, but he had mostly single joints, and then
Hmm.
Donnie had a couple of double joints. Now Mikey is all double jointed, and he's now pinless, so they keep
Oh
improving,
wow.
and which is great because like Raph, of course, will be coming next. I think they've already solicited both like Bebop and Splinter. Splinter's out, Bebop's coming,
Mhm.
but they haven't announced Raph yet. And I'm like, okay, good. Work out all the kinks, figure it
Yeah,
all out, and by the time Raph gets around, we're gonna have a kick-ass Raph figure. So of course he's my
yeah,
favorite. Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Donatello.
Donatello.
And their representation of him is like perfect because
Yeah.
I don't love Donatello representation from the 2012 series or IDW. Um, I liked Mikey best from 2012, but overall, it's Donatello.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, that was a good answer. That was very specific. I'm glad you had thought about that one. That's a good one because that one typically trips people up because they're like, man, now I gotta like sit and think. What is your favorite toy convention to go to and why?
I have not been to many. I've been to Toylanta, and when I went, I think it was 22 when it was still run by different folks. I think that was super fun.
Yeah.
Very friendly people, really enthusiastic collectors who, at the time had not even seen Mythic Legions. And when we went, we were showing a lot of Mythic Legions customs and just bringing stuff from our vaults, from our own personal vaults there to sell. Um, and it was just ridiculous amount of fun. So Toylanta I've been to LA Comic Con, which isn't really a toy show. It's more of like a pop culture show.
Right. Right.
Houston last year, which was super fun. Again, more of a huge pop culture show. Um, Great fun. Legions Con, amazing time. Just a really specific community, and just the amount of customs and joy and love that goes into people's work there is, unparalleled, really, right?
Yeah, no, it is. You're right. Like
Yeah.
it's less of like a toy show and more like a family reunion kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
There
yeah.
just happens to be toys there.
Yes.
Well,
A lot of.
Toylanta was great. I went last year for the first time, and it was fantastic.
Oh, that was your first time going?
Yeah, and
Wow. Okay.
I think this year it's going to be even bigger because they've partnered with PowerCon.
That's right. That
And
will be
PowerCon's
very
going to be a
interesting.
part of it. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what that brings, and if it's I think it's going to be held in a different location than it was last year. So
Right.
yeah, I'm excited. Like I'm really
Yeah.
excited for Toylanta. That's going to be a good one.
I meant to check out the Colorado Springs Comic Con last year. I just got sick that weekend, and it's like literally right in my backyard. So I might check that out this year. Um, Again, pop culture, right? Not necessarily a toy show. So I want to find something local that I can drive to, because
Yeah.
having to get on a plane for 5 hours is not ideal.
Yeah, I also draw comic books, and we have a comic book convention here in Tallahassee that I don't attend because I am not a fan of the way the showrunner
Mm.
like prioritizes like outside
Mm.
people coming in, comic creators over like local. He doesn't really
Okay.
feature local people, or he
That's too
doesn't
bad.
care to, which is very odd to me. That you
Yeah.
would come into a town and have a
Mm.
comic convention that you're not familiar with the town, and then not feature the
Yeah.
talented creators that you have here, and we have some really good ones. But I do like Heroes Con every year, which it's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it is like it's massive, it's huge, and it is all comic book art, writers, colorists, inkers, and so like it is like the biggest like comic book artists writers show. Like
Oh,
they don't
wow.
have panels unless it's comic book panel, right? Or like comic book panel like from artists, or they
Mhm.
don't have like the big name guests are going to be comic book related. Like it's not going to have like TV and movie stuff. But like, if
Yeah,
you're
which
into
is
like art or writers or inkers or colorists, like that's the place to go. Like
that's awesome.
it's really dope, and I'll go there and I'll see all of my local friends from Tallahassee. Like literally, we'll have to drive 9 hours to like
Aw.
see each other. It's crazy. Um, do you have any specific collecting regrets?
All the time. So many things through Kickstarters where I'm like, man, why did I get this? I don't want this anymore. Two or
Buyer's
3 years
remorse.
later. Yeah. But it's okay because it's easily fixable. If I regret something, I simply turn around and sell it. And
Yeah.
sometimes you lose money on it, and sometimes you make money on it.
Yeah.
And so
Did you ever
yeah,
sell anything or get rid of anything that you're like, God, I wish I hadn't done
I don't think so. I think I have a pretty good record with that so
that?
far.
Good.
However,
That's awesome.
I'm on the verge of selling the rest of my Black Series collection. I sold 90% of it last year. I kept only the Clone Wars and prequel era stuff because that's like my favorite part, as far as characters go.
Mhm.
And I just photographed and cataloged and packaged everything in specific lots that make sense. And I'm kind of sitting on it to see like, okay, do I want to display that again, or do I want to sell it? So we'll see.
Man,
Yeah.
gosh, that just gives me so much anxiety. I don't even like if I decided to sell I don't even display them because I don't have enough room for my Black Series. I just kind of like pull them out, review them, and then like I put them in a bag and put them in a bin, and I'm like, I don't need to keep doing this. Like either display them or sell them, and
Yeah.
like just the thought of like pulling them all out, like I probably have I don't know however many it's been put out, like I probably have 200 Black Series. Like just the thought of like trying to sell all of them just makes me
Mhm.
so anxious.
I would
Oh
say,
man.
there are a couple things I kind of regret. So a couple years ago, my stepbrother went through his attic and he's like, "Hey, I found a bunch of our old toys. Do you want them?" I was like, "Yeah." And it was like my entire Battle Beast collection, and it was this toy line called Mega Force. It's not it was the military vehicles and like miniature vehicles that would go in the larger vehicles. So like there'd be a transport um, that the hatch would open and you could put like tanks and stuff in there, and there'd be smaller helicopters that would go on the aircraft carrier or the larger helicopter. Super cool line, tons of nostalgia. I did sell all of that on eBay, and I made quite a lot of money off of it, which was great at the time. I could have used that money, but I do
Nice.
kind of regret selling that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell the story is that I got into Mythics like immediately. Kickstarter 1, Kickstarter 2.
Yeah.
Like I had every one of those figures from the first two waves. And
Yep.
then I think it was a really long time. It must have been like a delay between like the second wave and like whatever the third wave or the next wave that came out was.
Yes.
And I kind of just got out of them because they
Mhm.
didn't really fit into anything specifically. And I sold them all. And I probably sold them all at cost.
Oh no.
Like $40 for, Otho, you know,
Yeah.
Joran Rune Shaper, $40
Oh
probably.
man.
Yeah, and then now I go back and look. So that like there's a line in my Instagram that I refuse to go past because past that is me opening them up and like taking pictures on my work desk at work.
Man.
And I'm just showing off all the figures and I'm like, yeah, I had that. I had Otho. He's 600 now. And
Whoa.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just sold them all. I was just like, whatever. And then of course I got back into it. But did have you ever had a friend get you into a toy line that like you otherwise had no interest in, but they kind of like they
Hmm.
got you in there?
I think early on when I was collecting, I saw a video from D Amazing, who's like,
So
a really good enabler of buying things, right?
he owes me so
Um,
much money.
yeah, he was reviewing some Common Rider stuff, and at the time, I had this like fledgling Star Wars collection. I didn't know what direction I was going to take it, and I was like, "Ooh, that one Common Rider figure would make a really cool bounty hunter." And so I ordered it, and it was a really cool figure. But at the end of the day, like months later, I was like, this doesn't really fit the collection. I ended up selling it later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
as far as like a whole line, I don't think so. Yeah,
so nobody hornswoggled you into a whole line of stuff, and you're
I
like, I
don't
gotta get
think
these things.
so. I'll have to think about that a little more, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I've tried to
No,
stay true.
he's good. He's a really good enabler. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll get you into some stuff, and then you're like, "Well, I just pre-ordered 68 Common Rider figures, and
Yep.
one figure that has a cat head. I don't even know why. Why did I do this?"
He's almost got me with that Warhammer Joy Toy line. Like I look at that,
Oh,
I'm like, those things are cool. I don't know anything about the property, which is what's
same.
keeping me like safe right now. Because I'm like, nope, not gonna go down that rabbit hole. But those figures
Yeah,
look
the
really,
cool thing is that those things are like 1/18 scale, which I don't
yeah.
collect. But since they are Ultramarines and they are genetically modified humans, then this bigger armor, they're kind of bigger, so they come in around
Mm,
5.5 inches.
okay.
They've got some. They're really well made. I have like 4 or 5, and I have a
Okay.
bike, just because I like the design and I like playing like the video game with my friends. But I don't know. I don't read the lore, the novels, and all
Yeah.
that, so I don't know everything about it. But I have a few. Some of the parts are metal, like they're like die
Oh
cast,
wow.
and some of the parts are, and they're some of the best painted figures. Like,
Wow.
and they're like if you've seen the prices, they're not that expensive. Like a new figure comes out,
Yeah.
it's like $30 or $40, and they're beautifully painted. Like the
Mhm.
craftsmanship on those figures is just
Hmm.
it's insane. As a painter yourself, like you would be really impressed like if you picked one up. We happen to have a shop in Jacksonville, which is like about 2.5 hours to our east, called Mythical Mountain, and they have a huge joy toy section. And every
Oh
time I
wow.
go in there, which is not often, I'll go in there and I'll just see one on the shelf, and I'm like, oh man, that looks really cool.
That's
I'll pick
cool.
that up.
So you're saying I should get them for research purposes?
Research purposes, tax write-offs. Get Rob to get
It
you
it,
some. Say I
it
need these
would
for
it would
research.
be. Dang it. All right. Well, I'll have to think
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
it.
but be careful because it is a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Like before you know it, you're like, I need a red one, I need a black one,
I
I
need
need a
all
blue
of
one,
them.
I need all of them. But no, they're beautifully painted. If you had to sell it all and
Mm.
keep one line that you focused on with everything, what would it be?
For the purposes of this question, I'm going to lump fantasy together, which would
Okay,
include
that
that would
works.
include Savage Crucible, Mythic Legions, and Zestray. So I would keep the
Nice.
fantasy collection. Yeah. And it's not in, like you said earlier, not a nostalgia property.
Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right. Because it sounds like you tend to lean very heavily towards like militaristic like properties, GI Joe, Valor,
Strangely,
Battle, whatever they were called. What was that?
oh, Battle Beast. They were, I would say,
Not Battle
sci-fi.
Beast. No, the
Oh,
little
the
armor, the little
Megaforce.
Megaforce. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
have to look this up. I'm not familiar with those.
So there's 2 Megaforces. It's Chad on Instagram and YouTube has done material on the Megaforce that I'm not talking about. The Megaforce that I'm talking about is, I think, a little bit more obscure. It was a brief line in the 80s, and vehicles, all vehicles, no humans or,
I'm gonna check it out. I'm not familiar with it. Yeah. Where does the military come from? Did you have like?
I have no idea. I think it's just my brother. Like my brother's interest when we were younger, he was super into the vehicles and all that. So.
Very cool. All right. Here we go. This is gonna be a tough one. It could be a tough one. Could be an easy one. House is on fire. You can only grab one figure. What is it?
Well, it'd have to be a custom because everything else ultimately is replaceable, right?
Good loophole. Good loophole.
So I would, I would say I'm gonna grab it to show.
Grab it. Let's see it. That's even better.
So this, I probably will answer this question different every time, but I'd grab this horse that I did. It's a Paladin.
I love it.
So
that's
awesome.
I
put in a lot of time with the head, particularly like the nose area and just the overall figure. So I'd probably, if you asked me today, it would be this figure. If you ask me tomorrow, it might be something else.
Oh, of course. It changes every day. No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. That's great. What is, and this is the final question, and we'll wrap it all up. What is your favorite thing about action figure collecting?
I think for me, it's something to look forward to. Like, when you have something arriving or something on pre-order, gives something to look forward to. But also, like, if I just need to unwind and like just kind of zone out, I can come in this room and just hang out and look at my collection. And there's so many visually interesting things to look at. It's just, there's a satisfaction in that. So that's my favorite part of it.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that because that answer is almost universally different every time I ask it to somebody else. And I love that there's so many aspects to collecting. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so very much, Nikki, for sitting down and talking with me. This is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. And this is like a very selfish way to be able to get to know people that I like very much enjoy and respect and admire in the toy community. Hit us one more time with your socials so we can find you.
Yeah. So most active on Instagram, Nikki Nikole, one word, _customs. And then on Facebook, Nikki Nikole Customs. And I also hang out in the Savage Crucible Facebook group, but most active on Instagram.
Yeah. And, outside of her custom work, which doesn't come as often as it used to,
it doesn't,
because I have missed out on many custom head drops in the past. But if you need to get your hands on something that Nikki has actually touched and painted, go out and get. I'm gonna have to call it the Savage Crucible albino Lemurian because I can't remember what you called
it. Yes, Shield of Dezera.
Shield of Dezera. Yeah. So this will be coming out sometime in 2025. Get your hands on this guy because he is amazing. He looks gorgeous. I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing.
Thank you. Yeah,
well,
I had a lot of fun doing it.
I really appreciate it. This
Thank
was
you, Mark.
a lot of fun.
Thanks, Mark.
Awesome.
It's been really fun. And I hope to see you in person this year or next year.
Absolutely. We're definitely going to make it happen because I need a signature. I need my Lemurian assigned. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. I super appreciate it. Please continue to check us out on Instagram at Saturday Morning Toy Collector. I am your Saturday Morning Toy Collector, Mark. I will see you in the toy house. Bye, guys.
Bye.